Poland has managed to absorb the huge number of refugees arriving over its borders so far. The question is how long that can continue, as tens of thousands of refugees continue to arrive every day. Yevgenia has just arrived here with 3 of her 4 children.
My
husband is in Ukraine, she says. They didn't let him leave. And also my older son. He's 18. He also had to sign up to the army. So we're separated. Volunteers come to us and offer us opportunities where we can go, where there is work. We want to work, so we're not dependent on someone else, so we can be useful for something. The school's head teacher, Malgorzata Zioba, oversees the shelter and now has hundreds of refugees under her care. She says the worst moments are when, for example, a minibus arrives at night and we take in babies that are 4 or 5 months old. It is really very emotional, and I think not everyone is suited to cope with that. We can do it because we are strong. We don't know for how long. As long as we have the strength, we will help. Next door, a cultural centre has been transformed into a temporary shelter. They have been overwhelmed with donations from local residents and businesses. Yanis Zapatoci, a local politician who is helping at the shelter, says at first the refugees are shocked. They want to shout. They want to talk out loud what they experienced, what they went through, what their escape was like. And then slowly they calm down and get used to the new reality, that they have to go on living. The historical bonds run deep across this border. At the cathedral of the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church in Przemysl, a prayer service was held Sunday morning for the people of Ukraine. The service was broadcast live across Poland. Many Ukrainian refugees say they hope to return home within weeks, that this dizzying upheaval will soon be over. But as they see the images of death and destruction in the land they left behind, that hope is draining away. Henry Ridgewell for VOA News, Przemysl, Poland.
Since 2014, Russia annexed Crimea and fighting erupted in the Donbass region. The conflict has forced people from their homes as well as reshaped their worldviews. Since 2020, Victoria Soreta has been a senior research fellow at the Institute of Ethnology of the National Academy of Sciences of Ukraine and is also continuing her research at the Imre Kertész College Jena in Germany. I spoke with her earlier today and began the conversation by asking how earlier fighting in Ukraine affected people's national identity.
It was a big shock for Ukrainian society and made a big impact on the Ukrainian society. For a moment, society has to take a breath on things, many issues, and who belongs to us, who we are, what's happening to us. So these things were very intensively discussed on everyday level in many families. And from my previous research, because as a sociologist I conduct political interviews in very different parts of the country and countryside.
Oh, what did your research show?
Typically, Ukrainians were tried to distance themselves from discussion of historical past, of memories, some ethnic issues. And this conflict really pushed them to rethink the situation. But when we look at the sociological surveys, and we also see a very similar situation when we talk personally and conduct interviews, we observe a very interesting phenomenon because in academic literature, we have this argument that typically war or territorial conflict creates incentives for the unity against the rivals, and this provokes a strong nationalistic response among the citizenry. But in my research shows that actually Russia's annexation of Crimea and its military operation in Donbass have the kind of Ukrainian nationalism, but very unexpectedly.
So then what were your findings?
So, contrary to the picture described by Russian propaganda back then and now in Russian media, Euromaidan and other tragic events had actually positive impact on strengthening political view of Ukrainian nation and downplayed an ethnocentric attitude. For example, such marker as an important Ukrainian lost its significance if we compare data before the conflict and after the conflict. And we also see very interesting picture that more markers which would strengthen or emphasize importance of citizenship practices for Ukrainian identity, such as being useful for the society or participate actively in a civic life, became the key markers with the help of which people were describing themselves.
So taking a look at what you researched in the past, how do you see current events?
It's constantly portrayed as some ethnic conflict, but it's not in any sense ethnic conflict for Ukrainians. This is more the difference in political systems, the democracy, the possibility to express themselves.
Victoria Serena is currently in Germany. And finally, Russia's shelling of a TV tower in Kyiv killed a Ukrainian cameraman. His death highlights the danger journalists face as Russia continues its invasion of Ukraine. Anna Rice narrates this story to round us out.
On March 1st, the sound of Russian missile strike on a TV tower in Kyiv could be heard over Ukraine's capital. Later, local police pulled the bodies from the tower, including the body of Yevgeny Sakun, a cameraman who worked for Live TV. His body had a press pass in a pocket.
He was involved in the news show crew of Live TV, together with the TV crews of other large newsrooms on national Ukrainian TV.
His colleagues say that during military actions, journalists work mostly on a volunteer basis.
Four of our main media groups have united and we're doing joint coverage of the whole of Ukraine. So this whole journalist is not the story of particular editorial task anymore, or particular channel. It's a story of working together in the media sphere in order to give viewers a clear image that reflects the facts. We don't yet know whether Sakun was working or was at the tower for another reason.
Картинку, яка відповідає, інформаційну картинку, яка відповідає дійсності. І весь світ цю картинку бачив, що головне, що важливо для нас.
Sakun's family has also been missing since the cameraman's death. 4 other bodies were also found at the tower. It's not yet clear if the other victims were his colleagues, family, or visitors.
We had to get in touch with his relatives, but we can't reach anyone. And there is no one at the apartment where he lived. But because of the ongoing war, many people had to evacuate, so there is hope his relatives and close ones are alive.
The 49-year-old was a Kyiv native. His colleagues say he was very sociable, kind, and professional. For the National Union of Journalists of Ukraine, Sakun's death is a direct attack on freedom.
Це є очевидна атака на свободу слова, і навіть вже сама...
This is an evident direct attack on the freedom of speech. The information about his death is a powerful message that creates fear and anxiety for all Ukrainian journalists. We all realize any one of us could have been in his place, any Ukrainian journalist.
І нашого колегу може бути кожен із нас, кожен із українських журналістів.
The Committee to Protect Journalists issued this statement.
We are deeply saddened by the death of Ukrainian journalist Yevgeny Fakun, who was killed in a reckless Russian attack on civilian infrastructure in Kyiv. All parties to the conflict must protect local and international journalists and stop targeting media facilities and equipment.
Besides Fakun, the TV tower attack killed 4 others and wounded 5.
And that's going to do it for us today. Don't forget to stay up to date with continuing coverage on Ukraine, as well as news from around the world 24 hours a day at voanews.com, as well as on your favorite social media platform. Just follow VOA News. On behalf of the entire Flashpoint Ukraine team, thank you.